Hey guys, and welcome back to Joko Yo. And this is, I believe, episode number 17. Those of you that have listened to the rest of them, I do appreciate it. I hope it's been as much fun for you as it has for me, because I don't know if that's possible. But it's been a blast. There's more coming, but I want to end up the first set of podcasts. There's a whole other set coming the next few days. But I want to end this set, maybe you would call it a season if you want to, but I want to end this set with looking in sort of one of the ways in which we began. One of our first podcasts was about talking about some of the various holidays in Johnston. I would want to do that one more time to end up this whole thing. And there's some stuff that you may not know about. I didn't know some of this stuff when I first started researching it. That, I don't know, you'll hear. There's some things that may kind of throw your mind for a loop. This probably won't, though. Smithfield, our county seat, has traditionally been a place of festivals. This should come as no surprise. We have that whole ham and yam business. That's one of the bigger festivals in Johnston County and also, of course, in Smithfield. Now, just to kind of throw that out there, and for those of you that like to attend the Ham and Yam Festival, it's in May. It started in 1985. But, way back before Smithfield had the Ham and Yam, and way back before transportation got to be such as it is now, with 95 flying through here and 40 flying through the other direction, and train or railroads coming flying through, and not to mention the other highways like your 301s, and before transportation was so easy to transport yourself from place to place, it wasn't quite as easy to get across from one end of the county to the other one. And so what that would mean, and since human beings tend to need a way to blow off steam, of course, festivals used to be a whole lot more local than they are now. Just to give you an example, Smithfield as a county seat, it actually used to have a fairgrounds. Don't know if you know that or not. Smithfield used to have a fairgrounds area and used to actually have a county fair. That sounds like almost like old-fashioned cliche, but yeah, Johnston County used to have a Johnston County Fair, and it was held at the fairgrounds. Now, you may know, if you've ever been in the area, Wilson County has a fairgrounds too, and I think they even have a Wilson County Fair. Well, Johnston used to have one too. Many counties still do, but Johnston has not really for nearly a century. It's instead has let let Raleigh do it for us every October. And it's only fitting, honestly, because, Raleigh took Smithfield's status as the last important settlement on the Neuse River. Raleigh took a lot of Smithfield's most important citizens and also took a whole lot of its population when it started. So it's only fitting that we let it take care of our fair business for us, too. We are kind of close, but there are places that are closer. So just in case, we want to cover this, the purpose of the Johnston County Fair was, like most county fairs, was to, do what the NC Fair does. It used to be to show off Johnston County's products like agriculture, commercial, or crafts. Used to have Johnston County livestock. We still have a livestock auction, although not at the same place that it used to be. The Johnston County Fair used to highlight and showcase student work, again, kind of what the NC State Fair does. Now, the county fairgrounds, if you want to know where it was, used to be at the corner of southeast corner of Holt Street and South 5th Street. Basically, if you want to know where that is, it is, right now there's a gas station there now, and it's right across the road from a couple of car dealerships and the Family Dollar. I think it's Family Dollar. It was on the outside of town at the time, as these things tend to be, because, when you bring in livestock and all kinds of stuff, it tends to be kind of smelly. So people came from all over the county. It did, however, lose a little bit of its prestige every year because of that state fair. And the attendance, eventually, by around 1920, became such that it really wasn't that justifiable to pay the cost anymore, both financial and, I guess, social, for a lesser version of what Raleigh had to offer. And so there it goes. Now, there goes our county fair. Now, for trivia buffs who have ever really wondered why these things are called fairs, really what's particularly fair about them, I want to point you to our wonderfully weird English language that seems to love to have multiple definitions, homonyms, and homophones. Now, fair in this sense does not refer to even-handedness or good weather or pale complexion or even how things turned out, as in how did you fare last night at the poker game, or even what you owe a taxi driver for ferrying you across town. This word fare, actually, in this sense, comes from the late Latin word feria, which roughly means market, or an even earlier, holy day. So therefore, the NC State Fair, like now, for many people, sort of covers both those bases of being a market and a holy day. I mean, I know that I go. Now, the Johnston County Fair was pretty much over by the 1940s, but the need for a festive community, it's just a human need. Well, for it to have a festive community event, that doesn't go away. People need that, and it really did not go unmet very long, since after the county fair went away, Johnston's towns began to invest more heavily in their own celebrations. Even Smithfield did. It replaced its county fair with a Farmers' Day to mark the opening of the Smithfield Tobacco Market. Now, the Farmers' Day celebration in Smithfield was underway in mid-August of 1945. Just to give you an example, probably one of the biggest celebrations that Johnston's ever seen, when on the evening of the 14th, in mid-August of 1945, came the news of the Japanese surrender of World War II. And the street party to go along with that Farmers' Day celebration on the 15th on Market testified to it having quite the celebration, which, according to people at the time at the location, it's been well documented, that celebration lasted well into midnight. And there was apparently a whole bunch of ticker tape and litter from the celebration. But Farmers' Day in Smithfield was a pretty big deal, and saw getting one of the biggest celebrations that this county's ever seen. Now you have Smithfield as home to the Ham and Yam Festival, so we're filling that festival gap. It's a human need. But Smithfield's Ham and Yam, just for a trivial basis, interestingly enough, didn't know if you know, but yams are not actually yams. And you're probably going to say, what crap are you talking about, Smith? Well, yams are not yams. Actually, yams, real yams, in case you didn't know, are actually from Africa and Southeast Asia, and they're not nearly tasting what you think they taste like. What you think are yams, or maybe not you, but some people, at least what the Ham and Yam Festival talks about, it ain't a yam. They're sweet potatoes, except they are not really potatoes, because they're not really related to potatoes that you're used to, like with steak. It's not really the same thing. I know, mind-blowing, right? In fact, they're barely related to potatoes. They're actually closer cousins, get this, to the morning glory vines than they are to potatoes. Not yams. They're not potatoes, but they are sweet, well, most of them. So these morning glory vines, if you don't know what they are, they're the vines that seem to crawl around everything. They usually have like purplish flowers, pretty flowers, but man, they are voracious. They will wrap around a tobacco stalk in a second. Tobacco farmers hate morning glories, the cousins of these sweet potatoes, because these morning glory vines can climb stalks and rob their tobacco leaves of precious sunlight, can stunt crops. Well, see, again, morning glories and sweet potatoes are very close cousins. And they're native to the Caribbean, the same as the kind of tobacco that defined the Johnston County economy for decades. So, sweet potatoes and tobacco came from the same location, the Caribbean region. And is it just fitting that Johnston County made lemonade out of lemons, so to speak? These two weeds have defined so much of our economy. And so while Johnston farmers did not invent turning those weeds into crops, they certainly did benefit from them. And even though Raleigh, the politically expedient creation of Raleigh, the artificial creation of Raleigh, took so much from the organically developed Smithfield, Smithfield found a different character than what it thought it would have at first, and maybe even a better one. And y'all, that was a short episode, but I did enjoy it. And the next episode coming up is me talking about some people that you probably would never have suspected. Just to put it out there so you know, y'all, you're probably never going to hear me talk about Ava Gardner. This is not what this podcast is about. I'm not talking about Ava Gardner. No way. Not happening. There's plenty for that, and I applaud the museum for doing what it's done with its subject matter. And if I do talk about Ava Gardner, I'm gonna go through a history that is related to her, but not about her. Same thing goes with Percy Flowers. If you're from Johnston County, and you've been here for a long time, doubtless you know who Percy Flowers is. I'm not going to go into those details, but I could go through some history that brings him into it, but that's no time coming soon. This is about those people that are not Ava Gardner and those people that are not Percy Flowers, because there's so much more to Johnston than those two characters. And y'all, until next time, hope you have a great time, and listen to me again very soon. Bye-bye.